The second reading I have for you for our second class is by Lionel Robbins, who is a philosopher of economics, like you might call him. And he wrote this paper in the 1930s. I was actually unaware. I had never read this paper before I started preparing for this class. I was looking for a paper that would make sort of a similar argument, and it turns out that this paper was quite influential and really shaped the way that I think economists, especially in the early days of sort of the modern mathematization and the way we think about public or welfare economics, thought about what they were doing. So that's like Paul Samuelson and Ken Arrow. And just to kind of frame why I'm assigning this reading and what this reading is kind of doing, is Robbins is talking about what we can deduce about what we should do, what a good policy is, from economic theory by itself. Okay, so you might hear somebody argue that the minimum wage is good for society because it helps poor people. Or you might hear somebody argue that the minimum wage is actually, all things considered, bad for society because it harms poor people, maybe because more of them will be unemployed. Or you might hear something about whether a tax. So, here's an argument that we'll talk about later, but something that you sometimes hear is that a tax on consumption, so a sales tax, a VAT, is bad relative to an income tax. And why is that? It's because, say, rich people, they save more of their income than poor people. So if you tax consumption, if you have a VAT or you have a sales tax, then relative to income, poor people are paying more than rich people, even if the tax is flat. So that's bad for society, because asking the rich to pay less as a share of their income than the poor is bad. Okay, so Lionel Robbins, those arguments sound very natural. They come kind of out of economics, the way we think about welfare, the way we think about social welfare. So Robbins is going to have some comments about that. Now, he uses often a phrase that is a bit dated. So he'll talk about whether something is economical or uneconomical. So he'll say, people sometimes say that, going to war is uneconomical. Okay. That word has sort of fallen out of modern English, like the way we talk about economics. So I think that whenever he says that, I think you want to sort of replace it in your head with, the social planner or the optimal policy or the optimal economic theory tells us. So instead of saying going to war is uneconomical, we might say something like, the social planner would not go to war because that it's inefficient and it reduces welfare, or social welfare would be higher. So instead of saying let's think about an example. A tax is a distortion. So the social planner prefers to have young people save less than what they actually save, or something like that. So whenever we have a social planner, that's sort of a stand-in for this word economical. So I'm going to leave it there, but don't get caught up on this old-fashioned word. Think, economic theory suggests, or economic theory shows that, means that something is economical. That's more the way that we talk about it these days. So with that framing, that's why we are talking about this paper, this particular reading. And I look forward to talking with you more about it on this coming Wednesday.